Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go. Woo!
All right. It's a football takes, NFL takes edition of Purple Daily here. A reminder that we are going to be, we being all of the Score North podcasts, with Purple Daily being front and center, are going to be at the Minnesota State Fair starting Thursday, Friday, and then all 5 weekdays next week, the Great Minnesota Get Together. And we're going to be doing a bunch of Score North podcasts, including live Purple Dailies from noon to 3 every single one of those days. You can find out more information about the location of the Score North podcast stage and the full schedule of shows at scorenorth.com/fair. Boys, one more preseason game until the actual NFL regular season is here. Who's fired up?
Oh, I can't wait. Well, and the great thing is, if you're a Vikings fan, Sunday, September 7th is a red zone day.
Oh,
It's true.
So
yeah,
you get
to sit there all day, 7 hours of, well, it's not uninterrupted football anymore. They've mixed in some interruptions, but
Well, they put the side by side though, because I don't think they ever go to a commercial break. So they do
Okay.
those side by side,
partially interrupted.
interrupted. But then you get that, and then you get
Pardon the interruption.
the Vikings game. I am jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's fun.
The first preseason game is always fun, but then like now that we're halfway through it, I guess in a way, because there are only 3 preseason games. This is the point where I'm like, okay, I need real football.
Yep.
I need real football.
And you're going to get real football, but that's a yes. Like I can dip into, if it's a non-Vikings preseason game, I'm dipping into like the first quarter. Let's say the Bears game last night, but then I'm out.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that Bears game from yesterday here. We'll go around the room, each give an NFL take. So, yeah, we've carved out this little weekly space here in addition to all of our Vikings-related discussions and shenanigans on Purple Daily. This is our little island to talk about the NFL at large, and sometimes that bleeds into the Vikings. This one might actually, but I'll give you the first take of the show here, which is Bears fans are very, very excited, and I can understand why after yesterday. I will also say that the Bears are under the most pressure in the history of their organization, which I will explain here in a second. But everyone's all excited because Caleb Williams carved up the Bills' second-team defense yesterday. 92-yard opening drive. He was 6 for 10 for 107 yards and a touchdown. He took no sacks. I don't think he even had a rushing attempt. It was all just like on schedule. It was weird. He drops back. He throws a ball within like 2 seconds to an open receiver cutting across the middle in that Ben Johnson offense. Some play actions mixed in. And it wasn't the running for his life version of Caleb Williams, whether it was necessary or self-inflicted, that we've grown to see in his rookie year and at USC. Now, he was excellent when the pocket was clean, but he was just 1 for 4 when pressured and 1 of 3 when blitzed. So I don't know that yet. Like, Bears fans are super pumped. I don't know that yesterday was the best example of what's going to happen against like a Vikings defense in week 1, where you're not going to be able to sit back there, clean pocket for 3 hours. So a lot of quarterbacks look great with a clean pocket, and Caleb did running that offense yesterday. But to the second part of my take here, which is have fun now, Bears fans. That was great. You can celebrate a Game 2 preseason extravaganza. But look at what's brewing here the first 2 or 3 months of this season for the Bears. First of all, they've been searching for a high-end franchise quarterback quite literally since Sid Luckman retired in 1950. And despite that 75-year search, this was the first time they ever drafted a quarterback number 1 overall. They've had number 2 overall. In fact, I think Sid Luckman himself was actually 2 overall. Yep, Mitch Trubisky, who they were hoping would be the second coming of Sid Luckman, turned out to not be. So you spend, for the first time in franchise history, a number 1 overall pick on a quarterback. You waste his first year with an overmatched coaching staff, maybe causing some irreparable damage. I guess we'll find out once the season gets going. And they respond by firing everyone and then hiring the number 1 new offensive whiz in the NFL in Ben Johnson. We're going to marry these guys together, and they are going to save the franchise. And that's what it's supposed to look like last night against the Bills, right? There's just one major problem. their schedule, which we touched on briefly last week. But that schedule is a, pun intended here, a bear for this team. First game of the season against the Brian Flores defense. So you're gonna be running this offense for the first time. Your second-year quarterback. You're prone to sacks and running for your life, and you're going to face that defense in primetime week 1. Then short week at Detroit week 2. Dallas at home week 3. It's a capable Dallas team. We'll see what happens there. At Las Vegas, that's a Pete Carroll, Geno Smith operation there that should be much more buttoned up and professional than previous Raiders teams. Bye week, and then out of the bye, at Washington, home against New Orleans, you should be favored there. At Baltimore, at Cincinnati, 2 weeks later, at Vikings, home against Pittsburgh, short week at Philadelphia, at Green Bay. They're probably going to be 3-4 games under 500 in December. And I'm wondering, what is the chatter around that organization going to be if they start slow or if they're buried in the standings because of all these factors?
Well, and with Caleb, when the pressure starts, can he stick to, because he did last night. Now, like you said, it's a preseason game, and those are hard to read because we probably get excited when McCarthy plays well in one, and we don't get excited when Caleb Williams plays well in one. But
totally.
In fairness, it looked last night like he was sticking to what Ben Johnson wants, which is great if he can do that, but it's really foreign to his style of play. So when he gets into those tougher games, and by the way, starts to see exotic packages, exotic defenses, fire zones and things like that, is he still able to process as quickly? And basically, because he's had to retrain his quarterback brain, right? The other thing, though, that's become just an absolute theme that I think is going to be such a telltale story at the end of the day in this division is these schedules, like for every team, are basically just tough. Like the Packers, the Vikings, you just went through the Bears. Declan has talked about Detroit's is really tough, and that's why he thinks Detroit is going to regress. So I do think the gauntlet nature of the schedule for the teams in this division and the fact that, you're going to have injuries and things like that, it's going to play a massive role because nobody in the division, because they're all similar, at least in some way, shape, or form, nobody has a schedule that you're like, that's not too hard. Everybody has a hard schedule.
I mean, if you're the Bears and it's Vikings, short week at Detroit, Dallas, and then at a feisty Vegas team, if you're 2-2 after those 4 games, I think you'd probably take that. 3-1 would be an incredible start with those 3 games. So let's call it 2-2 going into the bye week. And then you go at Washington, home against New Orleans, at Baltimore, at Cincinnati. If you can go 2-2 in that stretch, that's a huge win for them. So 4-4 would be a huge, huge win for them going into week 10 against the New York Giants.
So as far as the teams in that stretch of the schedule that are going to be tough for Caleb in particular, right? The Vikings for sure will. Now, the Bengals, I could see him being successful about because the Bengals defensively should be improved, but we just saw what Hendrickson is now, they're shopping him. Mm-hmm. And so a bad defense is going to potentially lose a huge part of its core. So, I guess I'm trying to look at who is Caleb most likely to struggle against because the processing is going to take some time, and the Vikings are a huge one.
How about at Detroit, which knows all of Ben Johnson's play calling tendencies,
and they're good
on a short week. Mm-hmm. So there's a very, very good chance they start 0-2, and it doesn't mean that they're terrible.
Right.
But if that happens, what will the vibe be around a very fragile, insecure NFL franchise? It's so fascinating to watch all the optimism and positivity around the Chicago Bears, and here we go. We finally got it right. And then it's like you confront this schedule, and in reality, it's going to be a really tough sled for them.
Yeah, they obviously, I think they would take. I think most Bears fans say, yes, I'll just take that of the 1-1 start. Like if they can split between the Vikings and Lions in the first 2 games of the season, I think that majority of them say, yeah, take that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The hilarious part is by the Monday after, so after they play the Lions, so obviously Vikings and Bears are the last game of week 1, the vibe in 1 week in Chicago could go from, all right, Caleb's great, to, oh my God, it's 0-2, and this is absolutely terrible once again. In a week. And that's the nature of the league, but still, that's going to be fascinating to see happen.
Yeah. Yep. Because last year they started 4-2, but it was really rickety, and
yeah.
it was Caleb was not playing well. There was no cohesion. The coaching staff was snowed over. So there's a good chance that the operation could actually be better, but they're going to be 2-4 instead of 4-2 1 year later.
Right. Well, and is Caleb, I guess my question again is he going to get off to a fast start playing against looks that are going to, like, he's trying to do something he has not done. Like Ben Johnson's style, as Thor has said 4 months ago, Ben Johnson's style doesn't fit what Caleb does. So when Brian Flores is dialing it up, right, and this is why that Brian Flores is going to blitz. It's like, he's not going to blitz anymore. No, he's going to blitz a lot because Caleb's going to freak out. But, this might take 6 games. This might take 8 games if it's going to click.
Yeah. Don't worry. It's a notoriously patient organization. So
yeah, and the fans, very patient in
super
Chicago.
understanding.
I hear the
Yeah.
podcasts are patient. I hear everyone in Chicago is patient.
All right, who wants the next NFL take?
Dex, go ahead.
Sure, I'll go. I sent you guys a clip yesterday, and it was Jon Gruden just breaking down Brian Flores' defense. I thought about playing it. I even just almost did the screenshot of the audio just so you can go find it. If you haven't seen it and you wanted to go see it, it's just on Jon Gruden's Twitter page, which is at Barstool Gruden, because they always have to have at Barstool name, at Barstool Gruden, and he's just for 90 seconds just going into chapter and verse how badass Brian Flores and the Vikings defense looks. And my statement is we need more of Jon Gruden. And I know at one point he was on commentary, and then he was with the Raiders, and he had to kind of go into hiding because things got a little weird there when he got
they
fired.
pulled back the curtain on his emails, and it was
Yeah.
let's pull that curtain back shut there, John.
But when you look at that, when you watch that clip, like no one gets me more fired up to talk football. I loved the university quarterback stuff he used to do back in the day, Jon Gruden's quarterback school.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved that stuff. That stuff was awesome 10, 15 years ago on ESPN. We need more of Gruden. And look, Barstool has them right now, so I guess you can get the fix at Barstool, but I want more. I want more of the football breakdowns in a national landscape. I want it on ESPN. I want it everywhere. I want it at my fingertips, not just at Barstool. Give me more and give me all the Jon Gruden. That's my statement.
He might be a little too toxic. And the other thing, too, is, and this is going to be more and more true now with the purchase of what the league is purchasing 10% of ESPN, and then ESPN is going to take over all of their media stuff, basically. So, like, Jon Gruden and Goodell had the big to-do, and then the accusation, which I think Gruden is suing on, is that Goodell purposely leaked the stuff that got Gruden in trouble. So, like, ESPN won't touch him now. Like, there's no way he goes back there. But I'm with you. I do love I love the Dick Vitalian enthusiasm that he brings to football.
Yeah, I agree in terms of, like, the corporatized ESPN and the NFL relationship now. It does feel like a long shot, but there are some, there's some questionable characters that have still like sure. Pat McAfee is a little rough around the edges. Maybe not. I think if you cracked open McAfee's emails, I don't think they'd look quite like Gruden's. Shannon Sharp for a while, and then they finally bailed on him. Have you guys seen the photo and or the videos that have kind of been circulating on social media of Jon Gruden's son, Deuce Gruden?
Yeah.
Well, that was 10 years ago when he was still coaching, that he was like on the sidelines of Washington looking jacked up.
Yeah. So he's 31 years old now, and I think he's according to Raiders.com, he enters his 10th season in the NFL and 8th with the silver and black as a strength and conditioning assistant. He is a 5'6", 31-year-old version of Jon Gruden. Mm-hmm. He's like a former bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's just kind of funny to see the offspring of Gruden. I feel like Barstool's a perfect place for him.
It is good. It's for sure good. I guess I want it more. Maybe this is on me. I don't consume a ton of Barstool stuff. So maybe this is just on me and the fix is there.
If you want more Gruden, he's available. Like he's definitely doing content on a daily basis.
They've got a pregame
podcasts.
show too, right? Don't they stream a pregame show of some sorts?
They do it's like a betting centric show for sure that they do.
Well, and isn't Portnoy joining like the big college football break?
Yes.
Like the
big noon kickoff on
big
Fox.
noon
Fox
kickoff,
Sports
right?
1. Yes.
That's
you
gonna
are
be
correct.
interesting.
Yeah. I don't think they've defined an exact role for him. I don't know if he's going to be like on their panel the whole time, but he's definitely the counter to. All right, they've got their McAfee.
Yeah.
and
they're Michigan guy, so it's Big Ten. He's going to root for Michigan. I want to see the first time Portnoy and Urban Meyer get in a debate. That's what I want to see.
Dude. Because that's the thing. It's like Urban has a certain aura about him, and people don't ever really cross the line of like, because you could nuke that dude with one or two little one-liners, man. Yeah, just like you in that bar down in Jacksonville, right?
And that's
Portnoy is the type of guy that would totally pull
100%.
that lever, right?
100%.
You know where it's always safe to go if you're Urban Meyer or anyone else. Grandpa's Barbecue, Dex. Grandpa's Barbecue.
Yeah, locally here in the Twin Cities, you can find them at Fratelloni locations, which is great. So you can get it there in stores locally, but you can also just go to grandpa'sbarbecueshop.com. Plenty of stuff. I see our Purple Daily audience that uses it, which is awesome. So keep sending me photos of all your grilling habits, your barbecue habits. They have all the stuff you need there. Go to grandpa'sbarbecueshop.com. Free shipping too on orders $50 or more. Go support grandpa'sbarbecueshop.com.
Also, if you enjoy these NFL takes or any of our Purple Daily takes on the main show, click that like button and the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. We're yard by yard getting our way towards 60,000 subscribers. So thank you guys. We're super pumped to be talking Vikings and NFL with you. Also, the O-line committee, where you can get even more NFL fix. Separate YouTube channel, but part of the family here at Score North with Jeremiah Cyrils and Alex Boone and myself, breaking down film. 16 years of combined experience between the three of us in the NFL trenches on the O-line committee. That's right. All right, Judd, what's your NFL take?
All right, my take is this. First of all, I'm going to start off with a familiar refrain, but I have a point. So first of all, last night I did watch...
Pablo Lopez needs to be shut down for the season.
Nope. You know who needs to be shut down, at least on the first team broadcast for Fox? Tom Brady. Greg Olson last night was with Joe Davis on the call for Bears and Bills, and I was reminded of why Greg is so damn good. I mean, he just points out things left and right, and he makes you think, and he brings up things that you might be a savvy football fan, but you don't necessarily think about, and that dovetails into my statement, and my statement is this. Greg Olson brought up a great point about perhaps an even bigger onslaught of teams going for it on fourth down in the red zone, especially the deep red. His point was this, bear with me. The touchback is now being moved from the 30 to the 35. They want kicks returned, okay? But Olson's point is there is going to be a chance, and if a team can take it, they will take a touchback. So, do you in like the first quarter or the first half automatically take the 3 points? But then if you give up a touchback, it's at the 35. So now you flip the field by a ton, or do you go for it because the exchange of 3 for that field position no longer justifies it? So really, if you don't score 7, because at the end of the day, deep red, you don't make it, guess where your opponent starts?
Yeah.
Deep in their own territory. I thought it was I haven't given it one thought. He explained it, and I'm like, that's a great damn point.
So yes, Greg Olson, and this was, remember the Super Bowl a couple years ago too? There was something late in that game. He is brilliant at operating in kind of slow motion on behalf of fans for, okay, here's what's happening. Here's what could be happening in the future in like 10 seconds or a minute. And he explains everything as well as any color commentator in the NFL, 100%. But Tom Brady, when operating as like full Tom Brady, the Tom Brady you see on some of these podcasts where he's like, he's talking about his process, what he sees, what he does. He can break the game down unlike anybody, and has all the credibility and experience, and can be kind of entertaining now that he's done a couple little roasts and stuff. Like he's got some one-liners. So I'm trying to figure out like what is preventing Tom from being more of the roast and podcast version of Tom on these broadcasts.
He's a studio guy.
That's the thing. He's probably miscast in these 20-second sound bites.
Yep.
Not to mention, when you see these clips of him coming in over the weekend in his full Raiders garb for a Raiders preseason game, the wild conflict of interest.
I know.
Like, that dude is hands-on with the Raiders as a part owner.
Right.
And he's going to be on the call for potentially, like, divisional opponents. or opponents that are going to be on the schedule later that season for the Raiders. So I think Tom at his best is fascinating and entertaining when he wants to be, but he just to this point has not been great in that format where it's like you got to deliver 150 different small sound bites about the play that happened or the thing that's about to happen in 20 seconds from now.
I think if you're going to do it, him in the studio now and clearing way so that he can actually talk and not have to give a quick opinion is his best form. But then again, I'm with you. I saw the same exact thing. Like he's on the sideline at the Raiders game in full garb, and that's fine. He owns part of the team. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry. That's like then go do that. Olson, though, and just like with this kickoff thing, I hadn't given it any thought in that context. And he brings it up, and I'm like, that's a great point. And I do think, though, that he might be right. I do think that we might see teams say, you know what? It's the first quarter. Ordinarily, back in the day, we take 3. We're less likely to do that now anyway. And now with the shift here, if you're the Vikings, for instance, are you going to just take the 3 points? Or do you want Beeflow's defense to be able to confuse a quarterback at his own,
deep in their own
deep in his own zone,
yeah.
And now he screws up and he throws a pick, and now you got quick change, or better yet, a touchdown.
Yeah, the NFL is definitely and even like the discussions about. There's been some high level discussion about finally getting rid of the onside kick and replacing it with the 4th and 18 or 4th and 15.
Right.
They are definitely like toying with the levers of special teams, these pillars that have been part of the game for a long time. And there's a lot of fans that are just kind of uncomfortable with it. I love it. I love that the NFL every year is willing to like completely change something for the betterment of the entertainment of the fans, or maybe even the safety of the game.
Right.
And then don't let me get into a baseball rant about how, oh my God, if we were to change this, then the whole history books would be, and the NFL's like, we don't care. We want the product to be entertaining right now.
And the one place where I will, as much as I don't like a lot of the things he's done, the one place where I will defend Manfred a bit is he has made some changes that still fans are like, starting in the 10th inning with a guy on second base. It's like, no, you want to get the game done and make it exciting. And by the way, it creates strategy.
Every other sport makes the end of the game exciting if it's close, right?
Well, this whole
basketball, you can bring the ball past half court now if you have a timeout. Well, that's what do you mean? That's not fair.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it makes it more entertaining.
Well, and the old baseball seam heads who don't want to touch the game, it's like you can't have that. You got to touch the game. You got to do things. The game's changed anyway.
That's right. That's right.
Seam heads.
Seam heads is a great term. You're a seam head, Dex.
I'm a seam head. Yep. It's true.
If you want more seam head takes, Score Our Twin Show. You can find those wherever you find podcasts, including YouTube. So, all right, those are our NFL takes here on Purple Daily for the Sports Dad from Mustache Producer Dex. I'm Phil. See you guys.